by summoning Salt.
World fucking record!
Speedrunning world records can only truly be appreciated by understanding the amounts of skill, luck, and dedication that go into them, and Punch-Out is no exception. This is the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out speedrun world record explained.
Bro.
This video is sponsored by Raycon. By now, Raycon's everyday earbuds have made a name for themselves by providing the same audio quality as the big expensive brands, but at half the price. I'm sure you've heard of them, maybe you've even been considering them for a while. But the best time to get a pair is right now, because they just launched an upgraded model of the everyday earbuds. The upgraded everyday earbuds have all the features of the original best-selling model, plus several new ones. The biggest for me is the new ergonomic shape with optimized gel tips that even fit my stupidly shaped ears. I've always struggled with earbuds before until I tried the Raycons. I can even take them out on my morning runs because they're weatherproof and sweat resistant. They sit tight and comfy in my ears at the start of my run, and they're still just as tight at the end of it. Seriously, if you've been looking for new earbuds, there's no better time than try Raycons. They've got a 30-day happiness guarantee and this special deal. If you click the link in the video description or go to buyraycon.com/bismuth, you can get 15% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping. Thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is straightforward. You, Little Mac, have to win 14 increasingly hard 3-round boxing matches, the last one against Mike Tyson himself. Fighters have a health bar and get knocked out when it reaches 0, at which point definitely not Mario the referee saps the collar away from Little Mac's clothes and he counts up until they get back up. If they do, their health bar is partially refilled, Little Mac's shorts regain their color, and the fight continues. If they don't, they're knocked out. And if they get down 3 times in a single round, you win by technical knockout.
What?
For the player, it's a similar situation. Little Mac can get back up after being knocked out, but only a certain number of times per fight. If he keeps getting knocked down, he eventually doesn't get back up and loses. Little Mac can throw 5 different punches. A and B throw right and left gut punches, and combining them with pressing up turns them into jabs instead. Finally, pressing start throws a special uppercut, or a star punch, at the cost of 1 star. Stars are earned by landing a specific number of blows, sometimes at random under specific conditions. You can also dodge, block, or duck by pressing the other directions on the D-pad. Little Mac also has stamina, which goes down every time one of his punches misses or gets blocked, and when he blocks or takes a hit. If it reaches 0, he gets exhausted and you need to dodge punches until he recharges. This is generally a non-issue during the speedrun, as Salt will be pummeling his opponents most of the time. Although some fighters appear twice, every one of the 14 matches is different. Your opponents have different stats in a defined pattern, often sprinkled with a dash of randomness. When they get back up after being knocked down, most of them can have a smaller health refill or a bigger one. All of these elements shape the fastest strategy. As a side note, most fights will be broken up into up to 3 phases for each knockdown leading to a KO or TKO. They're not to be confused with rounds. That, spoiler alert, Salt knocks out every opponent in round 1. For every fight in the run, we're first going to look at what Salt is trying to do and what are his chances of getting a favorable outcome. Then, after playing back the fight, we'll see how he fared. Thanks to a simulation-based probability calculator by ZocSauce, we'll be able to estimate how lucky the run has been up to this point. It simulates 100 million runs and counts how many could get this time or faster with similar execution, to give an idea of how many attempts you would typically need to get one run this good. Instead of tracking their times using a timer and splits, Punch-Out runners punch in the in-game time of each fight on a spreadsheet. This allows them to track the entirety of their past attempts to derive statistical data and other analyses. Measuring speedruns using in-game time rather than real time is a less common practice, but it's almost always done this way for good reason. In Punch-Out, it was born out of tradition because the primary form of competition used to be the in-game time of individual fights, but it stayed mainly because Punch-Out is driven by randomness in ways beyond the actual gameplay. Most of the time, fighters get back up at a random point in the count, and they sometimes attempt to get out, which pauses the count. On top of the already gruesome gauntlet the game throws at you, even with these random time losses is something the Punch-Out community unanimously rejected, and so the primary forms of competition are individual levels and a single segment with in-game time. The clock does have its quirks though, as we're going to see later. For now, let's meet our first fighter, Blast Joe.
Oh my god.
Blast Joe is, well, the first opponent. He doesn't do anything until 40 seconds in, where he backs up and charges you. This can be countered by a well-timed gut punch to instantly KO him and win the fight.
Give like a couple more soda maybe, and then just probably be done.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, I got
I ain't playing this shit.
Giants. I don't
Now we're talking random
know
shit.
where to go.
Exactly 38 seconds in, Salt throws 2 left jabs and 2 left gut punches before landing the final.
Bro.
This is
Oh
a
my
technique
god.
known as buffering. In Mike Ness's Punch-Out and in video games in general, buffering in action means that you can press a button before the action is available, usually because you're in the middle of some other action. By keeping the button pressed, the action will be performed at the earliest possible moment. This makes the controls feel so much easier and more intuitive, because you don't need to time your button presses precisely when you finish your previous punch or dodge. But more importantly, it allows speedrunners to track time precisely. All the different actions take a fixed amount of time to carry out. Notice how left and right punches have slightly different lengths. You can measure any arbitrary amount of time with the right combination of buffered actions, since you know they will always come out in the first possible frame. This is what Zallard 1 came up with. At precisely 38 seconds, buffer 2 left face punches and 2 left gut punches. Lastro backs up between the first 2 punches to prepare his attack. In fact, he always waits until the end of the punch to start backing up, which gives a bit of leeway to the strategy. Here there's some variation. He can shake his fist twice or 4 times. Salt simply has to react in time. He shook twice so a right gut punch lands perfectly. If he had shaken 4 times, 2 left gut punches would have done the trick instead. Buffer strategies are the bread and butter of Punch-Out speedrunning. They're used all the time to make fights as consistent as they can be, and Salt memorized dozens of them to the point where they're second nature. Next up is Von Kaiser. Again, a fairly simple fighter with no special attributes or behavior. Von Kaiser has one characteristic to keep.
Bro, what the fuck?
Of a lucky star. He gives the guaranteed star on the 8th punch that lands, as well as every second punch after that, but he has an additional 50% chance of giving a lucky star if you already have one. Star punches deal a ton of damage to him, so Salt's strategy is to land 8 hits quickly, then stun him and knock him down with the star. Then punch him twice to get a second guaranteed star, hoping for the 50-50 point flip to give him the third.
Let me just see the time.
second star punch
I know it's not gonna be a PB anyways, but I just want to see it.
TKO at 36 seconds. If he doesn't get the point flip, he simply needs to get a guaranteed star, which yields a 37 instead.
Hey, what should we call our fantasy league?
Yeah, no.
Trying to make some jokes and Punch-Out in football. All I had was Soda Droginski, but it's really not that good.
As you can see, Salt did get a lucky star and got a 36-second fight. The start of the fight is entirely buffered, but some of these punches are more complex than they look. Von Kaiser can have his guard up or down. If it's up, he blocks jabs, and if it's down, he blocks gut punches. However, here his guard is down, and as Little Mac is punching, he raises it and gets hit. This is known as a misdirected gut punch. Fighters don't just raise and lower their guard at random, they react to you. Pressing up indicates that you're about to throw face punches, so it makes them raise their guard. Different fighters react at different speeds, and generally speed up as the game advances. Salt presses A to throw a gut punch, but Von Kaiser's guard is down, so he instantly taps out. This doesn't change the punch he's already throwing, but it tricks Von Kaiser into raising his guard while the punch is going off, so he doesn't block it. Misdirected gut punches essentially let you sneak in punches that would otherwise be blocked. Note that it's not always visually clear when a gut punch is normal or misdirected. The 4th punch is also misdirected, but it doesn't look that way because Von Kaiser's guard is already up at the start of the punch. Throwing a regular gut punch would cause him to lower his guard and block the next punches. You may have noticed that Salt's final time here is 36.25, and his previous record had a 36 flat. Where does the time loss come from? Well, to understand that, we need to look deeper into the in-game flow.
fuck.
consistent. It serves as a very good measure of how fast a fight is completed. However, it bends time in a way us mere mortals cannot comprehend. First, in-game seconds are way faster than real seconds. In fact, they're much closer to Super Mario Bros. Seconds, if anything. Each fight has a base clock speed, 1273 for most of them, with a few faster and slower outliers. Every frame, the counter goes up by that number. For every multiple of 25,600, the clock goes up by 1 second, so the higher the speed, the faster the clock. Each in-game second is further divided into multiples of 4096 that correspond to a set of decimals. 4096 doesn't divide the second equally, so the last increment, 0.99, is only a quarter of the length of the others. Effectively, this means that in most cases, the decimals update only once every 3 or 4 frames. For some reason, the distribution of decimals is also slightly uneven, with a bias towards higher decimals. In other words, losing a handful of frames can cost as much as half a second and as little as 0.03 seconds. On top of that, the clock stops for a short time when you land punches, longer for a star punch. It also stops while a fighter is down, and sometimes during a special attack like Super Macho Man's Super Spin Punch. There's actually a glitch where the clock can freeze for an arbitrarily long time while the fight keeps going, and it's obviously banned by default from all speedruns of this game. Luckily, it's usually trivial to avoid triggering accidentally. Despite all of its quirks, I want to reiterate that the in-game clock is fair and reliable. On one hand, the concept of minutes and seconds is completely detached from reality to the point of nonsense. Salt's in-game time of 14 minutes and 46 seconds can't be translated back to real time in any meaningful way. But what matters is that this is a frame of reference that is consistent with itself, and 2 runs can be accurately and reliably compared within that frame of reference. With all that in mind, we can see that the difference between 36 flat and 36.25 is a single decimal increment. It can come from the timing of this dodge in phase 1, the first punch in phase 2, or the dodge in phase 3. Losing just a couple of frames here or there leads to a quarter of a second time loss. Next we have Piston Haunter. Now the effective randomness of the run is starting to be felt, but this time it's not because of random lucky stars, because stars are guaranteed on every punch in this fight. Quick note, not every type of punch qualifies to give out a star. Counter punches, punches while the opponent is stunned, and star punches themselves cannot get a star. This leaves punches that avoid the opponent's guard or surprise them as they're winding up for an attack. Also, you can only ever have 3 stars at once. If you earn a star but you already have 3, the next one is simply lost. Instead of lucky stars, the other 2 main sources of randomness are at play in this fight. Piston Honda's pattern and the refill amount when he gets back up. Towards the end of the first phase, Honda does a set of
Okay, whatever.
lengths and has a chance of throwing a wrench in the run with a
Lost like
hook, uppercut,
0.1 seconds, I think.
probability of this
But that doesn't really matter anyway.
with the manipulation we'll dive deeper into in a bit, so it sits at roughly 1 in 8. If you avoid that, you then get a 3 in 8 chance for a low refill in phase 3 and a 5 in 8 chance for a high refill. Obviously, low is good since you can get the TKO quicker when you have less HP to work through. The low refill gets you a 43-second fight, and a high refill will get you a 44 or 45. The exact decimals can vary a bit.
Fuck, dude. What the fuck?
As you can see, Salt got pretty lucky in this fight. He got the best possible outcome for a 43-second fight. Now you can see the star punches he throws deal a whole lot of damage.
Oh my
Those are
god.
Max damage uppercuts. There are several ways to do this with variable names: the regular, the reverse, and the inverse max damage uppercut. The basis is the
Yes! Yes!
Hit an opponent with an uppercut
Finally!
while the process of moving
An actual PB.
punch will deal the maximum damage. To achieve this, Salt throws a star
Yes, I
punch
was recording.
punch
Oh my
will
fucking
bounce
god.
up. Honda reacts by raising
Let's
the
go.
process